Hello fellow gardeners, and welcome to Smart Garden. If you're anything like us, you understand that the real magic of gardening isn't just in what you harvest, but in what you're building beneath the surface. Fall is the most underrated season in gardening, because it's when we have the perfect opportunity to transform ordinary soil into the nutrient-rich foundation that will make next year's garden absolutely spectacular. This guide will walk you through 10 proven fall garden hacks that ancient farmers understood, and modern gardeners are rediscovering. These aren't complicated or expensive techniques, they're simple, actionable, and they work. Let's dive in. The Autumn Soil Revelation. Why fall is your most powerful season. Most gardeners think of spring as planting time and fall as cleanup time, but here's the truth that's going to change how you approach your garden. Fall is when you build the infrastructure for success. The cooler temperatures, increased moisture, and longer decomposition timeline create the perfect conditions for organic matter to break down and integrate into your soil. Ancient agricultural societies understood this intuitively, and they achieved harvests that would astound modern farmers working with degraded soils. They weren't just planting, they were building fertility year after year, season after season. This guide reveals how to apply these time-tested principles to your own garden, and the results will speak for themselves. Hack number 1. The Leave the Leaves Revolution. Your first instinct in fall might be to rake up every fallen leaf and haul it away. Resist that urge. Instead, grab a mulching mower and shred those leaves right where they fall. This simple act transforms what many gardeners see as debris into liquid gold for your soil. When you shred leaves with a mower, you're breaking them into smaller pieces that decompose significantly faster than whole leaves. Spread this shredded leaf mulch across your empty garden beds to a depth of about 3 to 4 inches. Throughout the fall and winter, these leaves will gradually break down, feeding countless microorganisms that live in your soil and creating a rich, dark, crumbly texture that every gardener dreams about. The leaves also improve soil aeration, help retain moisture during dry periods, and feed the bacteria and fungi that make nutrients available to your plants. This single hack costs you nothing but a bit of time with the mower, yet it's one of the most transformative things you can do for your soil's long-term health. Hack number 2. Plant cover crops and green manure. Cover crops are one of agriculture's best-kept secrets, and they deserve far more attention from home gardeners. When you plant cover crops like winter rye, winter peas, or clover in the fall, you're doing multiple things at once. First, these plants prevent your soil from becoming compacted and eroded by winter rains and snowmelt. Second, they outcompete weeds for space and resources, meaning you'll have significantly fewer weeds to deal with in spring. Third, and this is where the real magic happens, nitrogen-fixing cover crops like clover, vetch, and field peas actually pull nitrogen from the air and store it in root nodules where it becomes available to your soil. When you till these cover crops into the soil in spring, you're not just adding organic matter, you're adding stored nitrogen that will fuel your vegetable plants all season long. The beauty of this approach is that it mimics nature's own system of soil renewal and requires nothing more than seeds and a bit of planning. Hack number 3. Layer your compost like ancient farmers. You know, ancient agricultural societies really understood something crucial. Soil health is accumulated, not created overnight. This is why layering compost into your beds in the fall is so powerful. Spread a 2 to 3 inch layer of well-decomposed compost across your garden beds and let the cooler fall and winter temperatures work in your favor. During these months, beneficial microbial activity continues at a steady pace, and the increased moisture helps nutrients leach into the soil profile. By the time spring arrives, the compost won't just be sitting on top of your beds, it will have begun integrating into the existing soil, creating a richer, more fertile growing medium. The key here is using well-decomposed compost rather than fresh material, which ensures that the decomposition process is far enough along that it won't tie up nitrogen or create problems for your spring seedlings. Hack number 4. Feed the worms and build living soil. Earthworms are the gardener's greatest allies, yet, honestly, many of us overlook how to encourage them. In the fall, bury kitchen scraps directly into your garden beds, fruit peels, coffee grounds, eggshells, and vegetable scraps. As these materials decompose, they attract earthworms who tunnel through your soil, creating channels that improve drainage and aeration. Even more importantly, earthworms process organic matter and produce vermicompost. also called worm castings, which is among the most nutrient-rich soil amendments available. These castings are teeming with beneficial microorganisms and plant-available nutrients that your spring garden will love. Rather than viewing kitchen scraps as waste that needs to be composted in a bin, think of your garden beds as a living composting system where worms do the work for you. This approach requires nothing more than burying scraps about 8 inches deep, far enough down that they won't attract rodents or create odors. Hack number 5. Aerate your soil and unlock its potential. Compacted soil is the enemy of healthy plant growth, yet many gardeners don't realize how compacted their soil has become after a season of footsteps, heavy rains, and general garden activity. Take a garden fork and systematically loosen compacted soil, especially in well-trafficked areas and between your garden beds. You don't need to turn the soil over completely. That would disrupt beneficial fungal networks and bring dormant weed seeds to the surface. Instead, push the fork down about 10 to 12 inches and gently rock it back and forth to create space and fractures in the compacted layer. This process, called deep aeration, improves drainage so water doesn't pool and drown plant roots, allows oxygen to reach deeper into the soil where beneficial microorganisms live, and helps all of your fall amendments penetrate more effectively into the soil profile. You'll notice the difference immediately. Better drainage, improved plant growth, and a soil that feels alive beneath your feet. Hack number 6. Conduct a soil test and balance your chemistry. Fall is the ideal time to test your soil's pH and nutrient levels because you're giving yourself several months to make adjustments before planting season arrives. Purchase an inexpensive soil test kit or send a sample to your local agricultural extension office for a comprehensive analysis. Based on the results, you can make targeted amendments. If your soil is too acidic, add agricultural lime, which takes months to work its way into the soil and stabilize pH. If your soil is too alkaline, add sulfur or peat moss. The beauty of doing this in fall is that these amendments need time to integrate fully, and cooler temperatures actually facilitate the chemical reactions that change soil pH. This gives you the perfect timeline to make changes and then conduct another test in late winter to ensure you've achieved your target pH range. Hack number 7. Harness the power of aged animal manure. Fresh animal manure is too hot for most plants and can actually burn roots and tie up nutrients, which is why timing matters. In the fall, incorporate aged manure from chickens, cows, or steers into your garden beds. Throughout the winter, microbial populations work steadily to decompose and transform this manure into stable, plant-available nutrients. By spring planting time, what was once fresh manure has transformed into a nitrogen-rich amendment that your plants can safely utilize. Aged manure also improves soil structure and water-holding capacity, making it a multifunctional amendment. The key is sourcing manure that has already been aged for at least 3 to 6 months, or aging fresh manure in a pile yourself before adding it to beds in the fall. Hack number 8. Plan for crop rotation and long-term soil health. While your soil is settling in for fall, use this season to plan next year's garden layout with crop rotation in mind. Create a simple map of where each plant family grew this year, and commit to not planting them in the same location next year. This seemingly simple practice prevents nutrient depletion. Different plant families have different nutrient demands, and interrupts the life cycles of pests and diseases specific to those plants. Follow heavy feeders like tomatoes and squash with nitrogen-fixing plants like beans or cover crops. This rotation strategy, practiced by farmers for thousands of years, creates a self-sustaining system where soil fertility naturally rebalances year after year. Your fall planning session ensures that when spring arrives, you're not starting from scratch. You're executing a well-thought-out strategy that benefits your entire garden ecosystem. So, here's hack number 9. Cover bare ground to protect winter soil. Never leave garden beds with exposed soil throughout the winter. Heavy rains and those freeze-thaw cycles really compact bare soil, causing erosion that honestly just washes your fertility away with the runoff. Instead, cover bare ground with organic mulch like straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips. This protective layer acts as insulation for soil microorganisms during harsh winters. It maintains moisture so soil doesn't dry out, suppresses weeds, and gradually decomposes to add more organic matter to your beds. As a general rule, aim for about 3 to 4 inches of mulch, staying just a bit back from plant stems to prevent rot. This simple act of mulching is, honestly, one of the most underrated soil building techniques available to gardeners. Hack number 10. Create a leaf mold bin and build a soil amendment factory. If your property generates abundant fallen leaves, you can create a dedicated leaf mold bin using simple wire fencing or even wooden pallets. Collect leaves throughout the fall, dampen them lightly, and pile them into the bin. Over the course of 1 to 2 years, these leaves will transform into leaf mold, which is a dark, crumbly soil conditioner that's absolutely excellent for improving soil structure, increasing water retention, and providing a home for beneficial microorganisms. Leaf mold is different from compost. It's pure decomposed leaves with no hot decomposition phase, making it gentle and safe to use anywhere in your garden. Many gardeners have multiple leaf mold bins at different stages of decomposition, ensuring a constant supply of this valuable amendment. This is soil building in its simplest form, and honestly, it costs nothing more than the wire or pallets you use to contain the leaves. Building your soil legacy really is about the bigger picture. What you're doing with these 10 fall hacks extends far beyond next year's harvest. You're building a soil ecosystem that becomes more fertile, more resilient, and more beautiful year after year. Ancient farmers understood that soil is not just an inert growing medium, it's a living system that improves with care and attention. They created perennial beds where vegetables grew with minimal intervention because the soil was so rich and so alive. They achieved harvests that sustained entire communities. You're reconnecting with these principles, and your garden will reflect that wisdom. The ecological benefits are profound too. Healthy soil stores carbon, supports an incredible diversity of microorganisms and insects, filters water naturally, and reduces erosion. On a personal level, building soil fertility naturally means you'll spend less money on amendments and fertilizers. Your plants will be healthier and more productive, and you'll develop a deeper understanding of how nature actually works. Start your fall soil prep now, and you'll be amazed at what awaits you in spring. Don't forget to subscribe to Smart Garden for more practical gardening wisdom, and please share this guide with fellow gardeners in your community. Your soil journey starts today. Let's build something extraordinary together.